harassed by the neighborhood bullies. His mother encouraged him to ignore the boys, but that didn't stop the teasing, and his father commanded him to watch over his sister. Things finally came to a head when Carl's sister was knocked to the ground by one of the bullies. Carl's father grabbed him by the arm and dragged him down to the playground. "Carl, the only things we got in this world are family, loyalty, and respect. You never ever let somebody hurt your family. It's time for you to be a man and stand up for what you believe in. I want you to go over there and take care of that asshole. Make him respect you and your family." The ringleader, a kid nicknamed Big Boy, had been teasing Carl and his sister for months. Now Carl had to defend his sister, and he was mad about it. He was mad because he'd been charged with protecting his little sister, and even madder because he'd been the butt of many jokes. But what he hated most was being called a little runt by his tormentor. That day, Carl's anger got the better of him, and it was time for Big Boy to pay. Small Carl strutted up to the monster-sized bully and stood toe-to-toe with him, looking up at his ugly mug. Big Boy laughed in Carl's face, but before he could open his mouth, Carl took a swing and punched him in the nose. Blood spurted everywhere. Carl moved at warp speed and punched the enormous kid in the stomach and kicked him in the shin. Big Boy toppled over like Goliath, hitting the ground with a thud. Carl kicked him uncontrollably, and it was only after his father pulled him off that Carl returned to his senses. From that point on, Carl never backed down from a fight. He protected his sister and did whatever it took to make his father proud. Carl promised he would always stand his ground. He developed a reputation for attacking first and asking questions later. He always remembered the day his father made him avenge his sister's honor. He would do anything to make his father proud and would protect his family, no matter what. When Carl was 15, his father died in a car accident, and Carl got angry. He hung with the wrong crowd and got into fights because it was the only way for him to release his emotions. After Carl spent a few years selling drugs and terrorizing some of the younger neighborhood kids, his father's brother came into his life. He had just finished serving a 20-year stint in prison. He'd been one of the biggest drug dealers in Brooklyn, but he was a changed man who pushed Carl to do something better with his life than being a gangbanger like he used to be. Carl began focusing on music as a way to calm the inner demons that had built up inside of him. He managed several local groups and produced their albums. However, one particular music group, named 718, after one of New York City's area codes, would become his ticket out. By 25, Carl's career had catapulted when the group won a Grammy for Best New Artist in the late 90s. His fan base grew, and the media took an interest in him. He navigated the music world, working with 718 on his path to huge success. Carl also launched the careers of a girl group called Brooklyn Baby Girls, who became an overnight sensation. He found his calling and discovered he had the Midas touch. The more successful Carl became, the more the media loved gossiping about him. They reported everything he said or did. He was a talented young music maven, but what hurt him was his unpredictable behavior, and they labeled him Brooklyn Hothead. No matter how hard Carl tried to control his temper, he eventually landed in jail on 2 different occasions. The first time, just after his 28th birthday. Carl had become annoyed soon after the release of his debut album, Free to Live, Free to Die, when shock jock Pete Remy criticized the album during his live show on 97.1 FM. Carl and his buddy Bruce were listening to Remy bash his album. "Who the fuck he think he is? He's on the damn radio telling people not to waste money on my shit." "Holiday, we should go down there and bash his..."